How does it feel? Like it's someone else's. It isn't.
First and foremost was the promise to take these characters to a deeper place, particularly Sam. You know what I'm saying? It just was like, it was a dream situation that I pride myself in fighting pretty hard to get.
Well, I know that in the pilot, Sam says that we need a hero that's relevant to the times. How did you envision Sam and Bucky in this series, and how did you want to make them relevant to the times?
Well, the first thing we wanted to do was harness the fact that the times of the MCU mirror today in one particular way. Thanos making half the world's population disappear and reappear after 5 years created chaos across the planet and created a struggle that everyone has to deal with regardless who they are, right? I think that's very relevant to what we're dealing with in real life today. And all the villains and all the conflict that the characters are dealing with is born from that. But the other thing we want to do was sort of take these characters on a journey where they land in a place that feels modern and feels relevant and makes them feel like they are superheroes of today moving forward, as opposed to superheroes, of an era. I mean, it's a different planet right now.
Yeah.
And we really wanted them to become heroes for these times.
Well, I was very intrigued with the story of the Shield and what that might be. And so the politics behind it, the DNA of the whole series was going to be a discussion about what that shield represented, whether Sam is going to pick it up or not, tolerance, diversity, nationalism, all of the things that go with red, white, and blue, and also what was happening in the world.
Well, can you talk a little bit about the writer's room? How did you envision it when you started? And what has it been like to work with a diverse group of writers? I think people tend to forget that shows like these don't often exist with just one voice. It's a multitude of voices.
That's right. And it's more than just the writer's room. Marvel works in a unique way. They have a whole giant evolving universe.
Yeah.
And the first thing you have to do as a creative is submit and embrace that you are part of something that's bigger than you and already moving. And once you do embrace it, it's amazing because, again, you're a part of something that's bigger than you, that's evolving. Mm-hmm. For me, we work hard to make sure any writer's room I'm in, I'm going to push to make sure that it's right and diverse. And dealing with a Black superhero, we knew we needed, you got to have Black writers to do that. And so, we made sure that a majority of the writers in the room were African-American, and our exec, Nate Moore, is a Black man also. So we made sure we wanted to do that right.
Well, I know there's been talk on social media about this series coming out in the wake of stuff like Black Panther and continuing that legacy and that relationship. Does that create pressure on you as a writer? How do you respond to those comments that this is carrying where that film started?
It's immense pressure, especially as a Black writer. You just know that the bar was set so high, and the balancing act was what Ryan and Chadwick were able to do was invite all the Marvel fans in. It does over $1 billion worldwide, right?
Yeah.
And without ever hiding from Blackness, you know what I'm saying? And so for me, you walk through the door and now it's not an African character, it's an African-American character. And I felt great pressure, but it's also why I showed up, because I did feel like I had something to say.
This is a series that's very much about forging an identity and not having one foisted upon you. And we know so much now that representation matters, and we're still talking about diversity in front of and behind the camera. For you, what do you hope audiences take away from this show, and why is now the perfect time for The Falcon and the Winter Soldier to be released as we're having these talks?
I believe that, and you've seen the pilot, I believe that this, to me, is a supremely relevant show. It is directly connected to how we all feel today, and the palette and the culture of these characters, not just Sam, but all of them, is immediate, and it's dealt with because it has a space to be dealt with. And I hope what we did was position these characters to be heroes for the times, not just heroes and the times moving forward. You know what I'm saying? And I hope the audience sees that there a real effort was put in for relevance. And I think we achieved it, but you guys would be the ones to let us know.
When you set up this first pilot, there's some beautiful action sequences, like that skydiving scene through the cliffs and all of that. And women are still not often cited and revered for being action directors like they should be. Can you talk about this being an action series? Did you draw inspiration from other works, and how do you look at the comment that women can't direct action sequences, that's still a thing?
Well, I hope that this busts that wide open, because obviously
yes,
we can. I've always pushed the envelope when it comes to action, and had worked in very muscular environments. And so I think this was a culmination of many years of drawing from all kinds of different sources of action. Obviously, the Marvel world is, and the superhero of it is a little bit different. And so it was really wonderful to learn what that was, and just how technically how that is achieved, because that's a big part of there's a very big technical component to action, but there's also a very story-driven, creative, emotional component. And so I like to try and annex the two and make sure that it's not just a fabulous fight sequence, that there's an emotional component with it, so that we are in a story, even if it's a specific story to those few minutes. Probably going forward, as more and more women are directing action, it will become more about that than it is about gender. Because
exactly.
I don't think gender is a component to the ability.
Well, and I know that WandaVision is just concluded, and there was a lot of discussion about fan theories and the lack of fan theories. I mean, working on this, is fan theories something that you were even looking towards? I mean, I know you can't say much because only the pilot is out, but how do you look at the numerous fan theories that litter the MCU and follow it around? Is there a desire to live up to them, ignore them, shy away from them? How do you look at them in general?
I think it's spectacular that they are so engaged, and that they have a wonderful voice and dialogue back and forth. And I think, like anything that is thoughtful, I'm very attracted to it if it's thoughtful. If it's mean speak, if it's hate speak, then I'm not interested. So I simply ignore.